Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the most watched packaging podcast on the planet. I have no data to support that claim, but I do know that Nico is here. Nico, how are you doing, bud?
Yeah, I'm trying to support that claim as well, but between you, me, my mom, no, kidding. No,
Yeah,
we have
exactly.
a no, we do have some followers, and we are growing every day. So it's a working process, and the more interested the topics become, more people are getting connected and referring to. So that's the life of a
Great.
podcast. Now we're not so famous. Wait a couple of years or months, and you will see.
Yeah, soon we're going to be flying PJs all around the planet talking about sustainability in our private jets that guzzle gas.
Yeah,
So, speaking of exciting topics, we got a great one today. Let's talk about California regulations and laws. Boy, does that get exciting. It's probably one of the most regulated states, but today we're speaking specifically about California SB 343, which is passed in 2021 and it's called the Truth in Recycling Law. And basically, this law was passed in 2021, but it is starting to be enforced in California October 4th of this year. So we only have about 6 months left to go until this is being enforced. What California was concerned about was greenwashing, right? Saying stuff is recyclable and it's not, this and that. So basically, they want to get rid of the chasing arrow symbol that calls out all the different resin codes, like number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with your little chasing arrow triangle, and they only want to put recyclable on a package if it is, let me get my stats correct, 60% threshold, meaning materials must be collected for recycling by programs serving at least 60% of California's population and then successfully sorted, processed into new product feedstock. What does that mean? It means that unless it's going in your blue bin, it's probably
sure.
not going to be considered recyclable in Canada, or at least you can't mark it as in Canada. In California, you can't mark it as recyclable.
It is. I'm happy and worried at the same time because this is a brave initiative. It's like check a reality check on what is really happening on recyclability. So this tells us upfront that all the efforts that have been done for a lot of people are not being materialized. Like at the end, material is not getting recycled. That's what this law is about. Like, hey, there's initiative, there's the places where you can drop off your material, but people are not doing it. So it's good that they're going to start pushing to. I think the purpose of this is to push industries to make it better and do better. But we might see at the beginning that we will lose one of the channels of recyclability, which is store drop off. That's what I'm kind of happy and sad at the same time because this will push to be more creative and to do things finally right. But in the meantime, those baby steps that were accomplished are going to be close.
Yeah, it's certainly incongruent with the entire market going to monoweb PE for store drop off because that's really our only recyclable thing that we could do. And it's not the most expensive, right? I mean, we could obviously move to compostable, but to your point, there's not a lot of compostable infrastructure in the United States either. But it's just, I don't know, like getting rid of it in effect is killing store drop off in California because it's just they're saying, well, not enough people are dropping off their polyethylene in the store drop off, so it doesn't qualify for a 60% threshold. And it's like, yeah, but something is better than nothing. Now you're just making it single use plastic and it's going into a landfill.
No, and to be fair, I only know this because I work with flexible packaging. Most of people, as we have said several times on the podcast, recyclable bin, everything that looks like plastic, everything that looks like plastic. People put everything, and I used to put a lot of things, and I start to separate my grocery bags because you told me that I put it in a big trash bag, and until it's full, I take it to the drop store, to the drop off of the grocery store. And for me, this is going to be my second giant bag of grocery bags, which I'm finally doing it. But before that, I didn't do it. So
Yeah,
imagine
and
people who doesn't know are not even aware that it's not recyclable, and people who know who's aware. Most people are very not very. They're lazy to go to the store and do it that extra step. So That's the reality check that this law is talking about, I think.
Yeah. So the spirit of it's good, but I don't like to your point. It kills recyclability for flexible packaging, and I'm not sure. I don't think that was their intent by any means, but it's that's going to be the result. I mean, but California's interesting because they don't allow plastic grocery bags anyway. You know what I mean? You got to pay for bags in California, and usually they're paper based, and they'll charge you like 5 or 10 cents per bag.
But the problem is that on sustainability, the rest of the states follows what California does
California
mostly.
does.
So they already removed a big part of the problem by removing the use of those plastic bags. But in most of the states, they're using like the alternative of, okay, it's store drop off, and that's how bigger brands and wholesalers and retailers are offering as a solution. But if California says no, like all those other states that hardly kind of do sustainable initiatives, what will happen next with those states? So
I don't know.
California
This
will
could
be
be.
good. California will be good because they're already doing a lot of different ways to approach the real problem. But all those who were following on in a very slow uh, path are going to retract. Maybe that's my concern or my worries.
Yeah, and I just don't know. Like, obviously, it's a change of your routine and your pattern, right? And that's what I don't think the consumer has had enough chance to learn properly how to recycle low density polyethylene, which would be the number four in chasing arrows before they remove it. Um, so it's just like to your point, like everybody learned to bring their own reusable bags to the grocery store, or if you're not using reusable bags, every time you go to the grocery store, throw that big trash bag of your grocery bags in there so that they can make new bags out of it. It shrinks decking. And is there enough even demand for recycled low density polyethylene to build stuff out of it? Is it just Trex decking? What else are we doing with it? So it's a conundrum, and I don't have the answer, but I don't like basically saying a bag could be store drop off, but it doesn't meet our 60% threshold. So now it's just going in the landfill. I would think store drop off would be a better alternative because it's
Yes,
going to go in the landfill anyway, right?
at the
Where else would
moment
it go?
is at the moment is the only alternative. I know that on politics we need to do better, but that was the only alternative on hand.
Yeah. So,
So
I
I
mean, we're
don't.
just kind of left
We need all.
waiting and
I
seeing.
guess we all need to talk to to make a call to action to all the people from the flexible packaging and start going to career day at schools and explain how people should recycle. I know it's not so fancy, and they probably will say no, but I work on sales. Okay, you work on sales, but for flexible packaging, start to pass the knowledge to what really matters because it's your if that's the industry that you're working, you need to educate people to make it continue something appealing for the planet. So I think there's at the end again there's a lot of bad education on what you need to do and what to not to do, and what schools does, and even HOAs or condominiums or even a family people are not very informed on how to recycle in general. And remember, people don't read, so even if you put the QR code on the how to recycle logo, you're not going to the website and check it out. That's like
Yeah.
the dream world versus reality. Like, okay, this is what you can do, but people are not doing it. And for short term, I think we can do later a full podcast on this sustainability theater around flexible packaging, because it's like what is happening versus what is not, and how people are checking the mark to feel good, but not really good things about it, really. So
Yep.
this is like the opening for what is happening, but I think we can go deeper in a full podcast about touching a lot of different aspects.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's no clear winner right now as far as what we're going to do about this because people that argue for mono web PE and store drop off, it's like, well, a lot of that stuff is not making it back. People that are like, well, then let's replace plastic with paper, not understanding that a lot of the pulp that you make paper out of is like clear cutting the Brazilian Amazon and then turning it into pulp and then taking that pulp, mixing it with water, a ton of heat. So it just uses like so much water and energy to make paper. People have no idea. So the carbon footprint on just producing paper is huge. And then half the time when you have paper, it's just the outer print web or something anyway. And then you're adhesive laminating it or extrusion laminating it to plastic at the end, and then it's a mixed material, and that goes in the landfill. And then you
I
have
think
compostable. That's 5x. It's like, where do we go? Where do we go? None of these are
I
great.
don't know who eventually will do that, but the problem is that we focus problems like this way, like, okay, let's focus on plastic, how to remove plastic. So that's what, when you, let's move to paper, let's go. I remember many years ago, no, I stopped using the paper towels at the public bathrooms because you're wasting trees. Now nobody cares nowadays, but the pitch before was like, hey, don't use so much paper because you don't need it, recycle paper at the office. But to your point, it needs to be like an integral way of approaching the problems and not individually. If you want to focus the problem of recyclability on paper, you need to focus simultaneously with plastic, with compostable. Like, all the solutions needs to be aligned. Otherwise, you are consuming other sources of and other resources, like, as you mentioned, water, to recycle paper or to produce paper. Or people say, let's go to food. Avocado is a great food. It is a great food, but it's one of the fruits that consume most water during the production. So there's a lot of waste. But it's beautiful for your body, beautiful for your health, but it's doing a lot of damage.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It feels like that. I keep kind of circling back to reusable is the best thing you could do, right? Like that, but then you don't get the branding in the store. Like you know what I mean? Like if there's a way that you would bring like like a rigid container and it would put all the stuff that's typically inflexible in there, but then there's no marketing on that, and everything would be like, have you ever been to a candy store, for example, where you buy in bulk and you pay by the
Yeah, like
pound? You know that, the big tubes, and you're like, yeah, I want 20 pounds of Skittles. So like that would be like, if you're bringing your own thing there, you're like, okay, this thing I'm filling with this, and this one I'm filling with that, and then you're just constantly bringing that back and forth to the store.
For some products, that should be the way. Like, when you go to the fresh produce aisle on the supermarket, you see all those uh, fruits and vegetables, and you can choose it individually or by group. Please don't use those small plastic bags that you don't need, that there's no point. You're going to wash them later, so don't use that small bags to put your fruits. But you see it on Whole Foods with the nuts, that you can do like your own peanut butter
Mm-hmm.
cream or different of different nuts. But at the end, not at the end. The other problem is about shelf life. All that works really good if it's fresh, but if you need to extend the shelf life, that's where you need to use packaging. So we need to provide a good way to dispose packaging, because packaging is not only an accessory, it's a need. So you don't have to cultivate your fresh produce at your backyard, and people from other cities, other states, other countries can do it for you while you go to work and sell flexible packaging, for example. We are, you know?
Yeah. I don't have time to tend to my garden
Yeah.
that's full of microplastics because I'm out here selling macroplastics. That's
Yeah.
pretty funny juxtaposition. But I mean, it's just, it's annoying that so many people are putting a lot of effort. So many states like California and Oregon and Washington, everybody's putting in so much effort to come up with a better mousetrap, and there's just not one clear cut winner, you know? So here
Yeah.
we are just trying to see like, what's the infrastructure, where is everything going, and then trying to react to those markets. But it's really weird that this law was passed in 2001 as being enacted in 2026, because in those 5 years tons of things could have been innovated in that time, making this law actually non-applicable. but
Mhm.
but
I
well, yeah,
guess
let's dig into it some more.
to we will do a full podcast around this. At the moment, make yourself a resource and ask anyone that you think they are doing something good for the planet, and offer to help in any way. That's the only outcome of this pep talk today, because we don't know where we're going, but you can start being more proactive on any field that you think you can help to improve the excess of waste that we're doing as humans.
That's right. All right, we got to wrap up. Thank you, Nico, for talking to me a little bit about SB343 out of California, and we'll see you at the next pep talk. Thank you, everybody, for joining.
Bye, guys.
All right.